what I'm gonna have you do is face forward, face me, because that camera is not dead center. Go ahead and face, oh, that's good. There, right there. Now just hold that, look down where the ball would be. Peripheral vision, you should be able to see the hands and club. Now I want you to lean just ever so slightly inside the right heel. I need you to drive it into the ground and tell me if your abductor's turning on. That's your pocket muscle.
Yep.
Okay, good. And I need you to relax your left thigh. Let it go. There. So you're not bracing with it. Did you feel that?
Yeah, that little dump.
Well, I just wanted you to relax the left leg in case you were bracing with it. Were you?
No, I wasn't bracing
Okay.
it, but
All
I
right.
felt like when I did this move here, and I
Good.
just kind of that I almost you move down just a little bit into the glute a little bit.
You don't have to. I have to do a shift. You
Okay.
don't have to sit into it at all. In fact, when you begin transition, you will naturally sit down into the shot. That isn't something, it's so funny. That's nothing you should have to think about. I promise you that sitting down when you start moving from the torso, like the guys that sit into it, that will happen automatically. I just did a video today of me doing medicine ball. That's exactly what I do to get momentum. And I never thought about it. I'm not trying to do it. But when you move from the torso and it goes one direction and comes to a dead stop, and now you got to take it and go the other way, you've got to get some lower body momentum. It's so natural to just drop into that.
Right,
And
gotcha. Well, just a minute ago, you had mentioned that muscular issue, right? That neuromuscular issue that I have with my left shoulder. That was
yeah,
basically I was shrugging, right? So
especially
this is I thought it was really interesting because when you spotted it, it was like an epiphany because I've been working so hard trying in so many different drills trying to drop the club in the slot, trying to fix the fact that I have a tendency to hit right of the center of my club. Sometimes I will hit literally on the outside of the toe. I can get away with it, but I'm still losing distance. I'm going where I want to go, and it's really, really aggravating. So interestingly enough, I was kind of applying the concept, right? So when I set up to the ball, and normally the ball's sitting right dead smack center of my club face. But here's the kicker. If I took that and I did a shoulder shrug, no matter what I tried to do with my hands and throwing it in the slot, I could not fix that problem. And the minute I focused on getting that shoulder back down into the socket, guess where I'm hitting the ball? Dead smack center every freaking time.
well, so rephrase it. I think you're talking about, did you call it a toe shot? What did you call?
Yeah, you're hitting the ball right off the toe.
Yeah.
And so I can still hit the direction of my target, but you lose so much of that impact, that compression of the ball, because you're not hitting anything that the club was designed to do, right?
Yeah.
You hit blades like I do, and you feel that in your hands big time. So I know I'm losing 12, 14 yards anytime that happens, and that's critical, especially if you're trying to cover some sort of yardage for water or a bunker, and all of a sudden you just have that. And I never knew what it was, and I can't tell you how many times I sat down with my buddies and other instructors, over the years, and some people thought I was coming over the top. Some people thought I just needed to drop it more steeper into the slot. We tried everything, and it drove me freaking mad. That little tiny adjustment every single time, dead center.
Well, because we're going to put this on YouTube, could you move your camera down just slightly so I don't see as much of the ceiling? And then I want you to hold the club in your hand and shrug to press with that left shoulder. Or you could do it with both so they can see how when you elevate that shoulder, that when you elevate the shoulder, it moves the arms and the club up and away from the ball, which is why you were hitting it on the toe. It's slight, but it's a big deal.
Right. Well, it's not just, it's actually really big. And so not knowing what it was, ultimately, the proof is in the pudding. If you just set up to the ball and you have that ball sit in the center and you just shrug, you're shortening your arms.
Yeah.
Right. So the ball goes from sitting center to sitting just outside the toe. It's a miracle I actually hit the shots that I hit when that happens. And it doesn't happen all the time, but it just creeps in here and there. And
Yeah.
I didn't know, I just didn't know what it was. I was like, man, I tried everything, got half motion, tried to figure out how I was throwing my hands.
And it
And then all
wasn't
of a
your
sudden
hands. And
it was right there.
that's the best part about learning body movement is if the torso moves, your hands are moving. And so whenever the hands aren't in the wrong position, the question is that my hands? Is it my rib cage? Is it my pelvis? Is it my scapula? Is it my elbow or my wrist? Because all of those can move the hands. So knowing body motion and the right motions that'll correct those, or for a beginner, make sure it never even happens to them.
Right.
Because
And
they'll
listen,
go
that's the problem that we're all having today. I said it before, we like to talk about the swing mechanics. And the reality is everything is coming from that body.
Yep.
So, I can sit there like we talked about once before. I can work on putting my hands in a certain place and put my hands in a certain place, but my swing still looks like crap.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. And that experience, when you're convinced that it's true, this is what's really, I think, great about learning the laws of body motion, the laws that govern body movement, is it gives you confidence. So one of the things that golfers lack is confidence, but part of that is because there aren't any fundamentals. There's nothing solid that a golfer can hang his hat on, so he's always grasping, and that doesn't lend itself to confidence. And there's a new book out, in fact, about how too many choices is not good. The human brain actually doesn't like that. It actually sends it into a panic. And in golf instruction, there's entirely too many choices, entirely too many things going on. How is a golfer to develop a reliable, consistent swing that he can be confident in when the brain is so chaotic with way too many options?
Yeah, so here's the difference really in my book. A couple of years ago when I was really trying to get a swing I could kind of count on, right? I would sit up at that first tee box. And what are my thoughts, right? Okay, God, I hope that duck hook doesn't come back, right? Well, I know if in order to quit that duck hook, I got to make sure my hands are right back here. So now I'm worried about my hands. I'm not worried about my swing. I'm worried about like 6 different things. And as I progressed and got better, that's not my thoughts at all anymore. I walk up, I look at the target, I've got kind of a process or a pre-shot routine. And then now it's just feel. It's just feel.
It's all
Nothing
about the
else.
feel. Awesome.
Yeah, I'm just in the moment, one step at a time, letting the thing go. And that practice swing, that's all I'm doing. Do I feel it? Okay, no, I did not.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do it one more time. There it is. Now just duplicate that feeling. And there's a huge difference because that's why these guys are still spraying balls in the woods and duck hooking into the fences while we're just hitting balls straight up the middle, and working the ball right and left versus panicking. So,
Yeah. Great
anyway.
point. Let's go on to move 2. So let's go move 1, and you're working on not moving your hips. That's something new I kind of threw at you today after looking at some of your videos. So you can certainly bump to the right as you move. Now, stay right there. I want you to visually imagine your right shoulder. Go ahead and pull it behind your head, the right shoulder. There you go.
I can
Without,
move right now.
yeah. Now, hold on. I'm going to have you stay right there. Do you feel yourself at all leaning left? At all? Does your upper
Well,
body?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, I don't, because here's the deal. Before, the reason I was leaning is I never slid over to the right and got my shoulder, my knee and my ankle set up. So
Yeah.
in essence, I had a lean with that move. In my old swing, by the way, I never moved my lower torso until I released and came up, right? But so I like that motion that you're telling me. Hey, let's go back rather than doing this, right? Let's go back, take the club head back, get that, and then slide over. Once I'm here and I do this, I don't feel like, no, I feel like I've got a pull. You could stick from my shoulder all the way down to through my heel.
Yeah. Awesome.
So I'm no longer leaning like this, ready to come in, kind of hitting that draw shot.
Awesome. Yeah, from this angle, I can't tell, but I was going to R and W that if you were leaning left. So let's go again. Let's go move one. And that shift to the right, Britt, I can't see the width of your stance. It should be barely noticeable. When you shift
So
right,
that
yeah,
shift right here,
yeah, during takeaway.
it's maybe an inch.
Oh, okay. And again, it's the camera angle. It looks like you're moving a lot, but I'm like, oh, I know. Okay. So go on to move two. Right shoulder behind your head and don't bend your elbow though. Just right shoulder behind the head.
Oh,
There, hold. That's what I want to make sure you're doing. There you go. Now make sure that left knee, let it cave in a little bit to the right. There, that's what I mean by brace. Let it go. Sink everything into the right heel and hip. Now flex the right elbow. There. Awesome. Now go into the magic downswing move. Fast. Go, 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 go. There we go. Awesome. The magic downswing move, we always do fast. I mean, it's almost, you can't do it slow.
I thought you wanted me to go slow with it.
Yeah, you can't. That one move for downswing, and the importance is never break the downswing up into 2 or 3 moves. It is one move. You move from the right, of course, everything else happens. Good. Awesome.
Gotcha.
Let's go one more time, and then you're done with your TED training. Shrug to press, especially left shoulder at address. I wanted to look. Oh, go ahead and give me a front view this time. I want to look at that left shoulder. Just face the camera. I mean, front body. Yep. Front view. Yeah. The front view of your body. Exactly. Move one, slight bump to the right. There. Good. 2. Where's the club coming down? Is it coming down in a pretty good position?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. Let's go one more time. And I want to look at move 2. I want to slow down on move 2.
Okay, because I always thought that my shoulder was really a contact where I went like this.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Oh, I'm so glad, man. You should see a big difference this spring coming up if you stop doing that. That left shoulder is naturally higher to address only because the right arm has to go below the left. That's it. Move one and hold. Freeze. Beautiful. There, you should be on that right side already. Now stay there. That left knee, can you bend your right knee a little bit more for me? There. Now shift 1 more inch to the right. Keep that right.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
There you go. That's good. No, I'm still watching that left knee. Okay, then go ahead and go to move 2 without elbow flexion. Maintain the triangle. Just pull it. Oh, good. Stay right there, right there. Good. Now make your right elbow flexion. There you go. So your back was already to the target. Shrug to press left shoulder 1 time. It looks good. It's in a much, but yeah, you were there. Excellent. And downswing move. Good. Perfect.
So I think what I was doing when we were working on that new takeaway, that one piece, keeping all the V's there. So before I was doing this, right?
Yeah, I can see you leaning your whole upper body left. It's like,
Right.
it looks like to me you're moving your hands and not your shoulders. That's how I visually see it. If you just pull that right shoulder behind the head, you don't see any of that. Bump right, right shoulder behind the head. That's it. Those are 2 moves. There you go. How good, how easy is that? Now tell me about your, yep, tell me about your right foot. Are you able to stay inside that right ankle?
Yes. Yeah. No, I always feel like I'm pressing in my ankle so I can dig the heel part into the instep,
Okay.
into the ground, so that way I can explode through the ball.
All right. And the knee is right over the ankle of the right foot, but the hip line does not have to be. As you rotate the hips, they may even be a little to the inside. I just don't want you to be shifting too far to the right. Go right, shift right, shift right. There, stay right there. Good. Awesome. Terrific.
Yeah, it feels good. I think that was my missing link trying to do bring that up to move to where I pulled that trail arm.
Uh-huh.
I had something jacked up there. I was getting there, and I'm hitting the ball fine, especially now that I've got my left shoulder under control.
Yeah.
So, and I do like that. Just go ahead and lift, go ahead and shrug it and then put it back down. It's like it does something with my brain that says, hey, keep it there.
Yeah, that's what the RNW's for. So the nervous system, it learns all day long, all it does is compare information. That's its job. And it makes all
Right.
its decisions by contrast. We're just giving it a polar opposite contrast. You obviously like the down position better, so that's going to work well for you.
Yeah, it's like I said, I mean, the most enlightening part was just fixing that toe shot that comes out of nowhere, not knowing what it is, doing everything I could to fix it. And quite frankly, working with students, it's like I'm no longer going to go to the hands. I'm no
Yeah,
longer going to worry about are they dropping in the slot. I'm immediately going to go to the shoulder.
right. And have you measured your hands with that what's that machine that
Hack motion.
what's hack motion? Yeah. Have you looked at your hands since you've kind of been honing this
Well,
swing?
yeah, no, absolutely. I think I told you about a little bit about the data is I'm always plus or minus 2 degrees at, really I'm just neutral. I'm zero right at the top. I'm putting my hands right in the right spot. I'm no longer fighting it, trying to manipulate the club. And
Yeah.
part of that honestly was the manipulation was trying to fix this swing that I thought was crazy over the top, or for some reason I wasn't dropping it in the slot enough. And quite frankly, just working on body motion, right? The movement itself has done amazing things for my swing. And so now I used to look at videos, I think like everybody else, they go, oh God, and I was probably my hardest critic, but now I watch a video and I'm like, damn, that's a nice swing, right? Like I can put that up with anybody up on that PGA tour and go, I'm developing the same movements as they are. And what that does is just gives me massive confidence every time I step up to hit a ball. I know I'm going to hit it pure. It's going to be a great shot. Now have fun with the game.
That's awesome. Now, has the hand position, I'm interested with the hack motion. Let's see what happens at your hand position at impact, because that's something you've still had to consciously implement. Let's see if that changes as you hone the magic downswing move and as you hone that left shoulder, not hiking up and then keeping it up through impact. So,
Yeah,
what
I'm gonna
happens?
be really interested because Ben Hogan used to talk about going into flexion with his hands. That was really helping him square it up, and that's always been kind of my thing. But a lot of that flexion was making up with some bad body movements that I had. So I'm going to be curious to see if I have to manipulate that club the way I used to manipulate the club to get myself square contact. I
Right.
really kind of think that issue is going to kind of somewhat maybe entirely go away.
Yeah, I think it may, especially once we get you going on the high level reps of the medicine ball work. So your torso is just the primary mover. It's doing all the work. It's carrying the load. And then you'll actually probably relax your arms and hands a little bit more and let them respond to that motion. And then they just end up doing what they're supposed to do. It's a wonderful thing.
Right. Well, Allison, that's a great point. If your body movement is not in sync, if you're not neutral spinal alignment, if you're not rotating around the axis, right, then you're inevitably going to tense up those hands.
Yep.
Why? Because you put yourself in a bad position, your whole body starts to strain, right? And that's a killer for a swing. Anybody will tell you, you grip too tightly, you just destroyed your swing. You're not going to hit it harder and farther. You're actually going to hit it, snap basically like a slap shot, and it's going to be a dead ball coming off of it. And I think that's the thing that because my body movement was off, I'm stressing my hands up here, which was not allowing my hands to do what they should do naturally, right? So what do I have to do? I have to manipulate the hands, get into flexion to square up that club because my body wasn't doing it naturally.
Yeah. So when your grip is right, your grip pressure is right, you make that magic downswing move. The backswing is like so easy. You just master the shoulder turn, don't let your arms do anything till you flex the right elbow. Backswing finished. It's done.
Yeah. So okay. So I have two things I need to do for you data wise. One, we're gonna as I start getting this really down, we're gonna get hack motion and prove that you know what that took care of that problem. Number two, I really believe I was hitting balls yesterday, and I still wasn't in the right spot, but I was making up for it at the top of my backswing. Just because my right shoulder, I was turning it a little bit too soon. However, because my left shoulder was down in its socket, I was swinging probably 15, maybe 20 miles an hour slower. And I got to tell you, that ball was jumping, just jumping. So the smash factor had to be through the roof. And so that's the data I want to get. I want to show you that little adjustment, I can actually swing easier, get my smash factor up more consistently, and see way bigger yardage than what I was hitting before. I would guess that my 8-iron will be 12, 14 yards further with less effort than what I was doing before.
Yeah, I think it was last May or June when I ran it. We were at that driving range, and all of your clubs, you were hitting the ball farther, but your club head speed went down. Do you remember that? And I see
do.
that a lot.
Yeah, I do. You know, I was just making better contact. I was swinging with a more pure body movement, and there was no struggle in any of the swings. And unfortunately, you know, you have to leave, right?
Yep.
And what do? I go right back to my own bad habits.
Well, hopefully this time with this new system, you're going to have it down pat, and you'll always come back to the same fundamentals over and over. There's never a reason to deviate from the triangle, the shoulder turn, the shift. I mean, every great player on the planet did it. The only extra thing you can add is to raise your arms up a little higher, that shoulder elevation, and that's it.
Right. And
Nothing else to the back.
I was thinking about that this morning too. I was like, you know, I could just go ahead and use shoulder elevation and get some more out of it. But I'm really focused on taking this time. You know how I am. I'm going to hit 500 balls a day. That's just what I like to do. And right now, my focus is I'm spending way more time working on TED and R&W, and I'm getting better results. I'm hitting fewer balls because I'm trying to allocate my time. It's kind of like, do I want to sit at the driving range all day and then maybe go putt for a minute? Or do I want to reallocate where I'm going to score better, spend 80% of my time around the greens, go hit the balls that I need to go hit, and then go play good golf? You know, it's just a better use of time. It's more purposeful. It's more on target, and I'm getting better results out of it.
Yeah. Awesome.
Because I'm scared I'm going to go back to my old stuff.
You won't. If you change it at the neural level, you won't. And the only way to go back to your old stuff is if you change your thoughts. So
Gotcha.
that's the problem with shopping, you know, going around and watching all these videos on YouTube. Again, I mentioned it before. If a lot of these golfers treated their marriages, relationships, and businesses the way they treat their golf game, they would get nothing done because they change it all the time. How can the brain and body ever memorize something? First, you got to learn to do it right. There is no such thing as repetition until you're able to repeat the same motion. So you've got to know what you're doing. And so just don't be mixing it up and jumping all over the place. That's the key. Hold it. There, do that again. Go to the top. I saw you bring the club down in the slot. So what I want you to do, I caught you right there when you weren't really thinking about it. Go to the top.
You know what it was? So as I broke, I did shoulder elevation.
Right. Stay right there. There you go. Now the hands, that all came down as a reaction, not you trying to bring the arms and hands down into the slot. Very, very important.
Exactly, because here's the deal. You get so focused on that shoulder, and believe me, I can make it work. But the difference was I did not understand the difference between a shoulder shrug and shoulder elevation. And that's sad to say because we use them interchangeably, not knowing it in the golf profession, right? So we're like, oh, we'll do this, but we're not paying any attention. That shoulder elevation, we're not watching those shoulders come out of the socket. You understand what I'm saying? But that shoulder elevation makes that move to the secret move happen without any effort, and drops that club right into the slot. It makes it a little bit harder, is all I'm saying, is if I come back here, right, and I keep the shoulder down and I don't use shoulder elevation, I have to make, kind of manipulate that little move right here to come through. Does that make sense? At least that's how it feels to me. But that was way more natural to come back here, slide to the right.
Don't say slide. That's the death word.
Right. Oh, right.
Skip.
Here, and then
Load that hip.
shoulder elevation here. It's so sweet when you let that go.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no tensity in my hands whatsoever. I can now feel the club drop.
Yes. That's so
that's
awesome.
the hardest part.
Yep. So that new magic downswing move, you make one move and everything else that we've ever wanted to be able to do in the swing happens as a reaction. It's just it is the most amazing thing. And I can't, it working on so many people. It's just crazy. It's fabulous.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
Yeah.
No doubt. Awesome. Thank you. That's what I needed.
Hi, Allison here. Thanks for watching that clip. And if you enjoyed it and you're interested in scheduling your own one-on-one Zoom lesson, just click the link below. Thanks.